It's just a light bulb, Kimberly. Yesterday, in an interview with Fox News host and my squash partner, Bill O'Reilly, President Obama slapped Fox News for covering stuff like the IRS and Obamacare.
Bill, you've got a long list of my mistakes in my presidency.
No, really.
Believe it because folks like you are telling me that.
I'm not.
I mean, these kinds of things keep on surfacing, in part because you and your TV station will promote them.
Now, blaming Fox News for Obama's scandals is like blaming rubble for an earthquake. FNC did not create Obamacare or target enemies for IRS investigation. His people inflicted that pain. FNC just asked about the bruising. But to use a football metaphor, once again, FNC is that sole remaining cheerleader who won't end up under the bleachers with the star QB. Sorry, O. We aren't like all those other MSM floozies. Anyway, if you dislike the president, his evasiveness will irk you. If you dislike O'Reilly, you'll think that he's rude. But if you're like me, you're like, why is this part of the Super Bowl? I mean, isn't the game enough? I don't want politics on this day. Maybe that's because I get it every single day of my life. But if I were the president, I'd do nothing on that day but eat nachos and break wind.
No.
In that order, nude. See, I'm a food separator. I don't like the steak touching my potatoes. I'm the same way with sports and politics, no mixing. And besides, if I want to see older men puffing their chests, the Red Hot Chili Peppers are at halftime. Shirtless. Gross. I do have one gripe, however. It's this.
I mean, there were some risks if you have lone wolves or small cells of folks who are trying to do some damage. What happens is you have an attack like this taking place, and you have a mix of folks who are just troublemakers. You have folks who have an ideological agenda.
Folks! When we now refer to terrorists as folks, it's time to retire the word. The nice couple who run the hardware store, they're folks. Terrorists, they're murderous a-holes. Let's keep that separate, too. KG, sorry. I'm so tired of hearing the word folks applied to everything. I don't even know any folks.
Well, ban it. You're the king of the universe anyway.
I banned it months ago. No one listens to me, Kimberly.
No one was listening.
Nobody.
I'm still traumatized by the naked thing. Yeah, that was not.
What did you make of the interview?
I thought it was a very good interview. In fact, I wasn't expecting it to be as hard-hitting since the hard hits are supposed to come during the game.
Oh,
but
metaphor.
I'm wondering if the president's people are rethinking the advisability of sitting down with Bill O'Reilly, who clearly was very well prepared, knew exactly what he wanted to get to, and he got after it. So I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Fox. And, I don't think it was a great interview for the president. But you know what? I'm glad he did it. And he sat down with him. And he should come and do interviews with Fox more often and answer the questions and make him a better man and better presidency.
Bob, do you think interviews like this change minds?
Well, folks, let me tell you. No, I don't. And I agree with you. I don't understand why we have to have a political interview before the Super Bowl. I mean, one day off would be just fine. Have the interview the next day. I think O'Reilly did a good job. I frankly think Obama did a little bit of a job that you people think, evaded things. But, folks, that's the way you do it on Super Bowl Sunday.
Eric, the argument for having him on Super Bowl Sunday is that you get 100 million people that see him that normally don't. That's a fair argument?
Very fair. So NBC loved it the first time, then CBS got it, and then Fox got it, then NBC, then CBS, and then Fox. So everyone's going to take the interview.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how it goes down. I've done a couple of these, clearly not to that caliber. They tell you exactly how many minutes you're going to get. They tell you what the camera angles are going to be. So Bill O'Reilly likely mapped out his strategy. He said, I want to go here, 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 and here. In fact, when Dana asked me on Friday, she said, what would you do? And it was almost the same map. I mean, it was the same map. Let's be honest.
He stole your idea.
No, he didn't steal my idea. It was the obvious map. It was the one that every American wanted to hear. Yes, let him take his victory lap on health care and then start in on the scandals, starting with Benghazi, the most important one, then go to the IRS and the other ones. But here's the thing. So O'Reilly has to keep him on topic, on the map, and not let him filibuster. Obama likes to talk in more than one sentences at a time, so you have to kind of nudge him along the way. I think Bill did a great job. I think going after him a couple of times on Sebelius, going back to him, rebutting some of the things he said, is not an easy thing to do.
No, it
President
isn't.
Obama is compelling. He'll kind of stop where he thinks he's got it tied up, and to go back at it, I think O'Reilly did a masterful job doing that. Tough job, but he did a great job with it.
Dana, do you blame President Obama for always targeting FNC, or is it just because it's the only network, maybe besides Jake Tapper over at CNN, asking such questions?
But, like, the best defense is a good offense, right? So he doesn't have the answers for all the questions that President O'Reilly, that has a certain ring to it, that Bill O'Reilly threw out to President Obama. I didn't mean to throw things off there for you. It's just I had a vision and it came to me. But like the Broncos, President Obama didn't move the ball at all. Okay, because one of the reasons you would want to do this interview right after the State of the Union is because you've presumably announced some big new program or new policy, or you have something you want to convince the American people that you want them to follow you on because you want to lead them to a certain place. There was nothing in the State of the Union that rose to that level that President Obama could talk about in that interview with Bill O'Reilly. I almost said Bill O'Reilly again. President Bush only did one of those interviews. It was in 2004 with Jim Nance when CBS had it. I do think that I do wish the president did more interviews. I think that the White House press corps has not asked enough tough questions so that you get to this point where there's all these questions that build up to one 10-minute interview. And I know there's going to be some more comments tonight because I think there were some things that didn't air last night that you're going to want to hear the president talk about, such as the Keystone Pipeline.
Good
and that's going to be on O'Reilly tonight.
8 p.m. Eastern.
KG, I want to play a shot for you. This is Obama on his fumbles.
Play away.
You were very generous in saying I look pretty good, considering I've been in the presidency for 5 years. And I think part of the reason is I try to focus not on the fumbles, but on the next play.
Do you think that's a wise strategy? Shouldn't he figure out why he's fumbling?
He doesn't really care. He's trying to move it forward, right? As long as he feels like he's moving the ball down the field, he's okay because he has a certain agenda that he wants to get to. And with each passing minute, hour, moment, day, he's running out of time, right, to effectuate all of these ideas that he has, get them done, put it in place for his core ideology. Yeah, sure, he should focus on, if he wanted to be a complete person, on why things go wrong and how he can do it better. But he really doesn't have time for that as far as he's concerned.
You know, the idea of focusing on his fumbles,
immigration and everything else he's got to try and get in.
That's true.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you focus on your phone, why go back and go over it again? I mean, I just don't I think it's exactly right. You look down the road. But when Eric says that everybody in America is concerned about Benghazi, they are not. I mean, I know we've gone over this subject over and over and over again, and I will guarantee you it's not going to be a voting issue. I mean,
it will be because Hillary is running. It's going to be brought up.
When you ask, let's put it this way: when you ask Bill O'Reilly's faithful audience, what are the most important things to ask President Obama? I'll guarantee you Benghazi IRS and
95% of them are going to vote for the Republicans. So
okay, but you know, so what Bill is doing,
we don't just have Republican
viewers. My audience is concerned about this, and maybe you should be too. So if his audience is X million people, when he's got 115 million on the hook, say, hey, maybe Bill turns 5 or 10 million people over to start watching Fox News on occasion. I think it's a brilliant strategy. It's great.
All right, I want to...
we are the winners.
Yeah.